Well, hey there guys, welcome back to my movie channel. My name is Tom and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of the brand new Wizarding World movie Fantastic Beasts, a Grindelwald story. But before we get into today's review, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. So The Crimes of Grindelwald is the sequel to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them that came out a couple of years ago. I did a review for that movie, so I will leave a link to that down in the description below if you want to check that out. And if you have seen that review, you'll know that I was very disappointed with the first Fantastic Beasts movie. I found the movie overall boring and very underwhelming and just missing the same... it just failed to recapture the sort of magic, no pun intended, that the Harry Potter films themselves had. And I'm going to get into that and why that's sort of a problem for this movie as well. But we'll start with the things that I actually really liked about The Crimes of Grindelwald. So in the first Fantastic Beasts movie, I found Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne, to be quite an annoying character. I get annoyed with mumbly, twitchy, awkward characters for some reason, and Newt just bugged me in the first movie, and he just kind of lacks sort of any form of charisma. And in this movie, I did like his character a lot more because this movie, there's a lot less filler. It's a faster paced movie than the last one, and I thought the pacing in the last one was just way off completely. This movie, the pacing is a little bit better. Could always be better still, but it's better than the first one, and I've got to give it that. The other thing I really enjoyed about this movie, if you've seen the trailers, obviously you know that Jude Law is a young Albus Dumbledore, and that we do indeed go back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry briefly in this movie, and I really enjoyed that aspect. The Crimes of Grindelwald has some really cool Easter eggs and some really cool references to the original Harry Potter series, and die-hard Harry Potter fans will geek out at those. Now, speaking of Albus Dumbledore, if you've seen the trailers, you'll know that in the trailer, Dumbledore says, "I cannot move against Grindelwald." And to me, that in the trailer seemed like a cop-out. It was like, come on, everybody wants to see the confrontation between Dumbledore and Grindelwald because those two characters have a lot of history together. That was established even in the original Harry Potter books. And that's something that I personally have been really wanting to see. And I was really hoping that the movie would do a good job of explaining why Dumbledore cannot move and fight Grindelwald himself. Because in the movie it does state that, Dumbledore is Grindelwald's equal. They are the only two evenly matched wizards. And the movie, luckily, gave me an explanation that I was satisfied with. I won't tell you what that was, obviously, because that's a spoiler. But I was satisfied with that because I didn't want it to turn out to be one of those situations where in certain movies you have two characters that should meet up or should fight or should have conflict or whatever, and for some reason, because they want this other character, in this movie's case, say Newt Scamander, because Newt Scamander's our hero, we want Newt to fight Grindelwald instead of Dumbledore. That's what I was afraid of for this movie. Luckily, that didn't happen. Now, in this film, there is a character reveal and then there is a character turn. I liked the character turn. I hated the character reveal. I won't give away what those were at all. Obviously, I'm not going to give away spoilers. I'm just going to say I hated, not the reveal, maybe the way it was handled, the way it was executed, and the dialogue and the way that it was used. It just felt really forced to me. The only thing I find comparable to how I feel about this reveal in the film is, if you remember in Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, when Anakin is on his knees and he's turned to the dark side and Palpatine has that really badly awkwardly forced moment of, henceforth you shall be known as Darth Vader, and it was like, come on, man, that's just so forced. This reveal in this movie felt a little bit like that. Maybe not as bad, but definitely not great. I will say, however, that Johnny Depp as Grindelwald, I was quite impressed with. I was very worried about Johnny Depp's casting as this character because I've been jumping off the Johnny Depp trend. It just feels like every character he's played since Captain Jack has been a degenerate of Captain Jack. And I was really hoping that in this movie he would get me on board with him as this character in a franchise that I care about. I care about this world of Harry Potter, and I didn't want Johnny Depp to damage it. and he hasn't. I quite liked him as Grindelwald, actually. I'm really excited to see what they do with this character in future movies. Okay, so here's the real sort of issues I have with the Crimes of Grindelwald. The movie overall, to me, I found very underwhelming. And I think the reason I found it underwhelming is because this movie to me feels like two pieces of bread with no meat in the middle. There was no second act to this movie. It was like first act, third act. There's no meat to this story. It's very, very all over the place. I found it to be a more coherent story than, say, the previous Fantastic Beasts movie, but that's also not saying much. And I do put a lot of this down to the writing of this movie, the screenplay. Obviously, J.K. Rowling wrote the screenplay for the first Fantastic Beasts and for this movie, and I still feel like she doesn't really understand how to edit herself. And this is why I'm such a big fan of let someone else write the screenplay. Have JK come up with the overall story and what she wants to have happen. Give us an established screenwriter the main beats and say, I want you to hit this, 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 and this, and let them write the screenplay, because, you know, she's a novelist. She's an amazing novelist. She's great at writing novels, and she's great at writing very long novels. Writing screenplays aren't her strength. She doesn't know yet how to adapt what she wants into a screenplay. They are two very, very different mediums, and I just think she could use some help in that department, because this movie feels like so much crammed in there like the first one did, and this movie is pretty much all set up just for the next movie and just for the future installments. And you can do a movie and have set up for future movies. Look at how the MCU does it. Look at how certain things in Star Wars do it. In this one, it's all set up. It's all set up with no payoff. There's no payoff in this movie to anything that's established. It almost feels like I was saying, with the fact that it feels like a meatless white bread sandwich, it feels like JK handed in some form of draft as say the final script for this movie, and they were working off like a rough draft or something, because it feels like it just doesn't feel complete. It doesn't feel like it's its own story. It just feels like all set up to a movie we're going to get later. That's something that you can't really be doing. You need to have it be its own movie. I understand that this is a franchise and they're world building here and they're setting up because they've planned out 5 movies or whatever, but there's got to be a balance there, if you know what I'm saying. J.K. Rowling now is 0 and 2 for me for Fantastic Beasts. The first one I didn't like. I don't like this one either. I love the Harry Potter movies, but the first one and this one for Fantastic Beasts, I'm really not liking them. So I'm praying I'll be there for the third one, because I want to see if, you know, she can stick some kind of landing here. I'm really hoping she can, with a third one or a fourth one or a fifth one, or however many they're going to do. I'll be there opening night for the next one. But man, I've just been so disappointed with these first 2 installments of this franchise that, you know, she's gonna have to come up with something pretty cool for the third one. The third one's gonna have to be pretty amazing to get me on board again. And I think also part of the reason that these first 2 aren't maybe as good as they should be is because the director, David Yates, he's directed like the last 4 or 5 Harry Potter universe movies. So this franchise needs new directors in it. It needs new talent, new ideas, a pair of fresh eyes on this material to really take this franchise in a different, new direction. Look at what happened with, you know, the Harry Potter series. You know, they had, I think, Chris Columbus on the first 2 Harry Potter films. Then they had, was it Alfonso Cuarón or was it the other guy? Then they had Alfonso Cuarón for The Prisoner of Azkaban, and look what happened. That's one of the most widely regarded Harry Potter movies there is. Some people think that's the best Harry Potter movie. So they need a different director, I think, for the next installment of this franchise to really just give it a fresh pair of eyes and a new take. So overall, as I said, I was really disappointed with the Crimes of Grindelwald. Thank you for watching this review, guys. That will do it for this review. If you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that red button and ring that notifications bell if you like this video and want to see more. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.